This is part 2. Back in the days of Leave It to Beaver and Father Knows Best, there came a funny little man, an endocrinologist named Henry Benjamin. Henry had an idea. Since he had the idea first, he stood to make a lot of money. Building on the first gender change operation in 1949, a newly minted man named Michael Dillon, in England, by the way, Dr. Benjamin set to work. His idea was to create a standard of care for the sex change surgery. What on the surface looked like a system of ethics for treating the rapidly growing number of people suffering from gender identity disorder actually became, like all things do in the wrong hands, a machine for generating profit. With a close-knit organization of thieves, pickpockets, and gender therapists, he established the International Gender Dysphoria Conference. They, in turn, wrote the standard of care. Henry also established an alias, like any criminal would. Most people now knew him as Harry Benjamin. Starting with a loose set of guidelines, this SOC became, over the years, more and more restrictive. All aspects, from the surgeon who actually did the operation, through psychiatrist, psychologist, therapist, lifestyle consultants, lifestyle coaches, group therapists, gender clinics, medical supply houses, hospitals, all eventually became part of the awesome juggernaut now known as the HBIGDA. But, as you will see, it is not a standard, since the members of the HBIGDA who apply and administer this system have a wide latitude of discretion in how closely they follow those standards. It is not care, because the word care implies concern and caring, of which there is very little, unless it is for how quickly they can collect the money and put it in the bank. International? That term implies a worldwide organization. Not bloody likely, as I will prove. I will not explain the SOC and the parameters it sets, even though I could, as I do have a copy. I will leave it as an exercise in futility for you to find a copy. The reference librarian at the local library searched for weeks and could only locate one copy available in the interlibrary loan system. The SOC also states that a copy of the SOC shall be made available to the patient's family, and any concerned with the patient. But when I, in my one and only encounter with a gender therapist, asked to see a copy, I was told that she didn't know where her copy was. Later, after I mailed her a copy I made from the interlibrary loan copy I got, and called her on the phone to discuss it, she all of a sudden said she had found her copy and didn't need the one I mailed her. Mighty suspicious, that. The whole purpose of the SOC is to make the preoperative transgender conform to the standard and pay dearly for the privilege in order to gain the approval of gender professionals to have the necessary surgery, which is very expensive. What, you may ask, give these gender professionals the right to control lives and charge for that control? Simply put, you do it their way or not at all. Those of you already in the system know exactly what I am saying and how true that is. Current estimates of successfully completing the system and obtaining the GRS are 3 to 7 years and close to $75,000. These are average figures. If you make it to the GRS via that system, then those gender pros will tell you that the therapy must continue to help you adjust to your new gender role, and again meet the standard set by the rest of the culture and society to be a whole and complete human being. Then, irregardless, they will label you as a trans woman or a trans man, to further set you apart from genuine males and females, to keep you feeling inferior, and of course that inferiority complex requires more therapy. Those that make it through the system sometimes themselves become gender professionals and perpetuate that system. I could name names, but a simple internet-based research will prove the point. A prominent surgeon, many therapists, and quite a few medical doctors are themselves transgenders. If you do your research properly, you may even wonder when and how they ever went through the system, if they ever did. I will admit, quite honestly, that some people do need all that stuff. Therapists, support groups, psychiatry, and so forth do have their place. But for those who need all that, I say great and welcome to it. My objection is that there is not any provision made for self-determination and personal freedom. Everyone, no matter what, must complete the course of treatment and have the approved status of SRS candidate for a surgeon in most Western countries to even consider doing the surgery. And then most surgeons have their own little subsystem to properly qualify an otherwise approved SRS candidate. Oh, and one mistake or variance means you have to start over. If you run out of money, well then, you need to go get some, come back and start anew. Troubles at home, and you have to go back to the clothing of your biological birth sex for a while? Well, you fail the real-life test, RLT, and you can start the required year over. In my analysis, the SOC is, like any system or set of industry guidelines or standards, based on A. Maximizing profit, B. Risk management, not getting sued, and C. Establishing a system of referrals and providers to keep the profits within a close-knit group of manufacturers, surgeons, suppliers, gender professionals, and workers, lifestyle coaches, and consultants. I understand this. This is the way it is in any industry. First, you locate a customer base, develop the need, and then supply the need. The HBIGDA system and the standard of care parallels this business plan. Instead of a mission statement, we have the SOC. That is the way of the world. However, what bothers me is that there is no competition for the standard of care. The HBIGDA has a veritable monopoly on the industry. Doesn't the Sherman Antitrust Act apply? They used it on AT&T and Microsoft. Why not on Harry and his gang? Fortunately, the Eastern mindset and Eastern societal underpinnings and cultural ethos are totally different. This is fortunate for the person seeking the GRS, because in certain Southeast Asian countries, they just don't care about the standard of care. What's important is your path and what you need to be a whole and complete human being. As for the effect of the system and the harm it causes, well, in the past 35 years, while I was still searching for my path, I encountered many who were in the system, and I knew many who were raped or killed for who they were. Sometimes they resorted to self-mutilation, castrations, and do-it-yourself mastectomies, or worst of all, committed suicide. These horrendous circumstances were all brought about by the frustrations induced by an uncaring standard of care system. This is what this video is all about. This is my once and for all, and then I am gone, do-it-yourself GRS program. And now, please go to part 3.